Good morning. So last class we were looking at security in the transport. So there are two protocols. One is secure socket layer, and another is the transport layer security (SSL and TLS). Secure sockets layer and transport layer security. Almost similar. The second one is a UPF version of the first one. And these are the layers in the internet model, and we apply SSL or TLS to provide security at the transport layer. So these two protocols, either SSL or TLS, would provide security at the transport layer. So we had seen this protocol, and we had seen that SSL has cipher suite and cryptographic secrets. So in IT security, there was security association, security association database, etc. Whereas in transport layer protocol, instead in the SSL we have cipher suite and cryptographic secret, and these things have to be exchanged between the sender and receiver. So which algorithm they are using, which hash function, which MDC, all these they need to have an idea. So these parameters, security parameters, have to be exchanged. So in IP security, we had security association. Instead, in transport layer security, the SSL version, we had cipher suites and cryptographic secrets for exchanging of parameters. We had seen cipher suite had this format SSL. Then we have a algorithm, which is the key exchange algorithm. Then bit, then we have the encryption algorithm. Then the hash algorithm. This is the format of cipher suite. So this will indicate which are the algorithms used. And we had seen generation of 6 cryptographic secrets, 1 to 6. And this procedure we had seen last class. So this much of procedure is required for generating the keys, the secrets. So these two, cipher suite and cryptographic secrets, are pertaining to the security parameters for SSL or TLS. We had seen this much last class. Now, in transport layer security, we have these terms sessions and connections. Session between two systems is an association that can last for a long time, a longer duration of time. Connection is established and broken several times during a session. So, a connection is a smaller time duration, and session is for a larger time duration. So, some security parameters are created during session establishment, and they are in effect until session is terminated. So certain parameters like cipher suit, master key are for the entire session, and some of the security parameters must be recreated or occasionally resumed for each connection. For example, this 6 secrets, they are for a connection only. So when the two parties exchange the security parameters, the initial one, the cipher suit, will be for a session. And there are many parameters which are for a session, which is a longer duration of connection. And in between, there are broken connection durations. For that, each time you need these secrets. And that is only one aspect. And how actually this is accomplished. So we have a transport layer. Over and above this transport layer, we have an SSL. And we have an application layer from which you get the data. Data normally you get from the application layer and it goes to the transport layer. Whereas here you have a record protocol in between and three other protocols. So in total, four protocols to implement this SSL. To implement this SSL, normally this application layer would go as a payload to the transport layer. You add header and you add the trailer. So here we have presence of four other protocols specifically to implement this secure layer, secure sockets layer, SSL. So that is implemented by these four protocols. So this record protocol, so four SSL protocols are there to accomplish its task of the SSL, secure socket layer. So there are two layers. The record protocol, this is one layer and this is another layer. The record protocol carries messages from three protocols and data from application layer. So this record protocol carries the message from all these three protocols as well as from this application layer. And this message from record protocol are payload to the transport layer. So message from this record layer becomes the payload to this transport layer. Now there are three other protocols here. One is handshake protocol. It provides security parameters for record protocol. So it establishes a cipher set and provides so all the security parameters are provided by this protocol. This is the function of this handshake protocol. Security parameters for record protocol. It establishes a cipher set and provides key and security parameters. It also authenticates server to client and client to server if needed. So like connection establishment, that authentication is also there. So this has a set of parameters implementing a portion of this SSL, and chain cipher set protocol is used for signaling the readiness of cryptographic secrets. So when it has to be signaled, that readiness is signaled by this protocol, and alert protocol is used to report abnormal conditions, some abnormal errors or anything like that. It's reported by this protocol, and they give messages to record protocol. In addition, it gets data from application layer, and that is forming the payload of this transport layer. So that is how this secure socket layer is implemented using four protocols. So you need to know that there are four protocols. We don't go into the details too much. So handshake protocol, so there is a client and a server. They use messages to negotiate cipher suit and to authenticate server to client and client to server, and exchange information for building cryptographic secrets. So this is the exchange of messages. So all these four phases are to be established for the security. So finally, we have finalized the handshake protocol by end of phase 4. So all these uh, cipher suite parameters, everything are exchanged in 4 phases in this handshake protocol. So it is done in 4 phases. Now this will send a special message, chain cipher spec protocol, which is for signaling readiness of cryptographic secret. A special message would be sent and received. And then, so basically, we have the record protocol getting messages from all these 3 protocols as well as from the application layer. And this forms the payload of the transport layer. So processing is done by the record protocol. So this much of processing is done by the record protocol. So record protocol carries messages from upper layer, handshake, chain cipher, alert, and application layer. So from all these 4 layers, it receives message. So upper layer protocol, it fragments it and does compression. A MAC is added, hash algorithm is there. So that is negotiated during the exchange. Then it is encrypted and SSL header is added. So this much of processing is done in this record protocol. Whatever is coming from these 4 layers are fragmented, they are compressed, MAC is added, and then header is added, and then it goes to the transport layer. So all these things are done by this record protocol. Now, in addition to SSL, secure socket layer, we have a transport layer security also, TLS. So this is an IETF version of the SSL. This is an Internet Engineering Task Force standard. So this came later, and this is almost similar. Only slight differences are there. Almost similar. So SSL version 3 is compatible with TLS version 1. Then the cryptographic sequence. So there is a little bit difference in the way TLS uses a pseudo-random function to create master key and the key material. So in alert protocols, a little bit of difference. TLS deletes some alert messages and adds some new ones, not exactly as in SSL. And in handshake protocols also, certain details have been changed. And in record protocol, instead of using MAC, TLS uses a HMAC. So both of these are normally same, except that this IETF has standardized this SSL to produce a transport layer security. So minor changes, minor differences are there. So we basically have SSL and TLS to provide security at the application transport layer. So TLS is basically same, only slight differences are there in the method in which these three in these aspects. Minor differences are there. Now we had seen HTTP. So last time was asked what is this HTTPS. So actually TCP we have normally we have end-to-end service. TCP. And when you have this TCP as well as SSL, it provides reliable and secure end-to-end service. So that S stands for this secure. So HTTPS is HTTP over SSL or HTTP over TLS. So you adding secure security features of this SSL or TLS over this HTTP protocol, which is this normally the protocol which we use for browsing, etc. And these port numbers are different. So regular HTTP has this number and HTTPS has this number. So HTTPS creates a secure channel over an insecure network. So that is what happens. So when you use HTTPS, you create a secure channel over an insecure network. So you have that lock icon in the bar, in that bar where you put this DNS name address. You see that the lock icon is there. So that is providing security over an insecure network. So it will ensure reasonable protection from eavesdroppers, man-in-the-middle attack, provided that adequate cipher suits are used and the server certificate is verified and trusted. Okay, so that is this difference in HTTPS and HTTP. So that is regarding the transport layer security. And the next security is at the application layer. So one protocol is PGP. Pretty good privacy is a protocol used at application layer. So PGP is designed to create authenticated and confidential email. So a email you are sending, you would require that security be applied at the application layer also. So this IPsec provides security at the internet layer. SSL and TLS provide security at the transport layer, and PGP is an application layer security, pretty good privacy, which provides at the application layer specifically for the email. So this PGP is designed to provide security to application layer, mainly for email. So we'll just see that this is the protocol which adds the security features at this layer for email. So sending an email is one-time activity. It's offline, not online. You need not be online. The nature of this activity is different from those we have seen in the previous two sections. So in IPsec or SSL, so IPsec is the security at the network layer and SSL is at the transport layer. We assume that two parties create a session between themselves and exchange data in both directions. So in email, there is no session. There is no session. Alice and Bob cannot create a session. So Alice sends a message to Bob. Sometime later, Bob reads the message and may or may not send a reply. So it is there is no session creation here. The security of unidirectional message, because what Alice sent to Bob is totally independent of what Bob sent to Alice. Okay, so the nature of this application is different. So if there is no session and no handshaking to negotiate the algorithms for encryption and authentication. So actually, we had seen there is a security association in IP security. Then there is handshaking and other cipher suit and secrets exchanged in transport layer. How can the receiver know which algorithm the sender has chosen for each purpose there is no security association or there is no session, how can the receiver know the values of the keys used for encryption and authentication? Because this is not an online real-time thing, so we don't do it actually by creating a session or handshake in PGP. So in that sense, it is different. However, these need to be known by Bob. What are the keys used, the algorithm, it should be known. So in PGP, the sender of the message need to include the identifiers of the algorithm used in the message as well as values of the key. So these have to be sent somehow along with the message itself. It may not be, Bob may not be online looking at the email that time. However, that would be sent. So what normally goes is we have two people exchanging emails. A scenario in which an email message is authenticated and encrypted. Alice creates digest of message. Email message, Alice creates digest of message. Signs with her private key. So, signs with her private key. Now Bob receives message and verifies using Alice public key. This is a normal procedure. So now Alice creates session key. So this is a session key. And use a session key to encrypt the message and digest. Alice uses a session key to encrypt the message as well as digest. And the key itself with message is sent. So to protect session key, Alice encrypts it with Bob's public key. Okay. So that is again encrypted with Bob's public key and sent. So somehow this is a typical scenario. So you can, this PA1 is public key algorithm for encrypting session key. After this, PA1 is a public key algorithm 1 for encrypting the session key. PA2 is for encrypting the digest. It's a public key algorithm for the encrypting the digest. After which you are encrypting using session key, and this is the public key algorithm for encrypting the session key. Now symmetric key algorithm identification for encrypting message and digest. This one. And hash algorithm for creating digest. Here. So all these things are there along with the message somehow. So because it is an offline mechanism, no session is created. Now these are some of the PGP algorithms. For public key, these are the algorithms used. For hash algorithm, these are the algorithms used. For encryption, these are the algorithms used. So, however, new algorithms are being added. So there are, all these are the various algorithms used at these different places. So these are the names of those algorithms: public key, hash algorithm, and encryption algorithm. So the new algorithms are being generated. And now, this is the concept of rings. Rings mean normally Alice would send to Bob, but Alice would send to many other person also email. So corresponding to different persons, Alice needs different keys. Hence the concept of ring. Okay. So here, concept of ring is Alice may need to send messages to many people, not just Bob alone, many other people. So there would be a set of keys. So in this case, Alice need a key ring of public keys. So there would be a key ring of public keys and a key ring of private keys as well. With a key ring of public keys with key belonging to each person. Okay. So Alex would have a ring of public keys with key belonging to each person and several pairs of private public key belonging to her and the public key belonging to other people. So when we interact with various persons, we have various pairs. So that is the concept of ring. So note that everyone can have more than one public key. So Alice would have a ring of public key and a private key pairs. Bob would have similar such ring, public key, private ring pair. Say Ted would have something, John would have something. So this is the concept of ring. So when we look at this scenario, you would just look at Alice and Bob having this set of keys. However, they would be communicating with many other people and hence this concept of rings. Now, in PGP, we have certificates. So that I mentioned there in the previous slide, certificate. So when you have a public key, how is it made public? So, so Alice cannot communicate with everyone and make it public, or Bob would not communicate with everyone and make it public. Instead, we have trust centers. So Alice would register with this trust center. Bob would register with trust center, and some sort of directory of public keys for each user. When they register, a directory is maintained in the trust center. So trust is someone whom everyone trusts, and that certificate should come from the trust. So this, when you have this mail system in which the keys are sent. So how these keys are made public? It is by using trust center. So if they retain a directory of public keys, when each user register in the center, so they'll have to prove his or her identity. A certification authority is there. Hence, based on this trust center, a certification authority would be there. It is a federal or a state organization that binds a public key to an entity and issues a certificate. So finally, a trusted sender should be there. It would be maybe state-owned organization that would uh, 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 need someone, Alice and Bob, to request and give their those entities has to give their credentials and this publicly, and then this is maintained by this trust center, and they would issue a certificate. So that is the normal process. So in PGP, there is no need for certification, authentication. Anyone in the ring can sign a certificate for anyone else in the ring. Bob can sign a certificate. So what is the difference in a PGP is that, so this is the normal way we have this certificates or things done by using a trust center normally. But in PGP, one can sign a certificate, so we need not go to the trust center. That is what is written. In PGP, there can be multiple parts from fully or partially trusted authorities to any subject. So no need for certificates to be registered in the central organization. The certificates can be generated by Alice can sign a certificate for Ted by John and etc. So basically, we just look at the mechanism of application layer security in the case of this email. So that is called a pretty good privacy. So these are the components which we have seen. So this is at the application layer when the application is an email. So it provides security at the application layer. And it is a bit different from the uh, previous two cases. So this is one scenario. So it is an offline mechanism. And many other algorithms are there which are used here in these places. And rings are required when you have many other people whom we communicate with. And these are the special case. We need not go to a this authority. So in the case of PGP. So that is regarding this application layer. And before that, we had seen this TLS version. TLS is a just a slight variant of this SSL. It is that uh, Internet Engineering Task Force has standardized this SSL, and this is almost has some minor variation with the SSL. And HTTPS is uh, the transport layer which has a secure feature of this SSL or TLS. TLS is the recent one. Okay, so that is all for today, and I will just